Maybe? Okay. I'm trying to, again, decide if I want to go live on Instagram or not. I really don't know, but this is going to be such a good conversation. Maybe I'll go next week. All right, I'm going to pull this because we're going to need this. And then I'm going to do this. If you guys can't see me, do not worry. It will not be for long. Okay. Where you guys are? Perfect. Here we go. Boom. Love when things work out so seamlessly. Okay, so my name is Lotus Saloba, and I am a energy practitioner. So I study energy psychology, neuroscience, energy healing, very spiritual based, but I also love the wellness aspect of spirituality. And I get to come on here every week and I talk about different topics that I think we all have a connection to. And I speak on how we can have a different perspective on it. So some of the classes that we've had so far were like the power of simplicity, where you're talking about how you can simplify your life and how important that is to do so that you don't get exhausted by living life. We've talked about so many other things that I can't even think of right now. But today we're talking about the ego, and I'm very excited for that. Okay. So the ego. Where do I begin? So the ego gets a really bad rap. And I think that this has always been something in me since I was a little girl, where I'm always trying to see the full picture of something. Because when I think about the three little Goldilocks and with the wolf, right? I actually wrote an essay when I was like 8, right? About how I feel like the wolf was wrongly accused. And I did this because I feel like there's always two sides to every story, and it's up to us to lean in and see both sides and then create a full experience for ourselves. It's going to be unique to each and every one of us. And when we talk about the ego in wellness has been so just demonized, just villainized, right? You hear the ego, you're like, oh no, I don't want my ego. My ego's bad, or my ego is what's hurting me. It's why I have so much heartache and sadness in my life. And it's like we're almost always looking for something to blame, right? We're always trying to find something to blame for our behavior being misaligned, as opposed to just honoring the fact that there's misalignment and things happen because we're human beings, and moving forward from that. So today, my intention is to share more information about how the ego can be your friend and how you can utilize it to live your dream life now. So by the end of this conversation, not only will you have a wider perspective on what the ego is and how you can utilize it to help you move forward in life, we'll also be using EFT, which is emotional freedom techniques. And you'll be tapping to integrate this new information into your body. So now when you're showing up in the future with your ego, it's not a battle. It is simply just an awareness, okay? So let me know how that sounds for y'all in the comments below. Yes, he was following his wolf nature. Few wolves are vegetarian. Ego protects us at times, don't you think? I do, Brooke. We're going to talk about it. And yes, at the same time, too, it's like, y'all were in my place of business as a wolf, right? Like, nobody told you to be here. I'm living my life, doing my thing. And I love to compare wolves and how wolves are viewed in society to the same way that the ego is, right? Wolves are often like these very scary creatures, but when you do research on them and you learn a lot about them, they're actually very loving, caring, community-driven animals that simply will act on instinct if you provide that space for them. Like if you come with a crazy energy, you're going to receive a crazy energy. But most times they're just trying to protect their young and protect their pack and enjoy their lives. But, society has this way of demonizing them and making them seem they're these very vicious animals. And society also does that with the ego, making you feel like you need to eradicate your ego in order to move in light. And again, I will say this until I'm blue in the face. You need to experience darkness as much as you do light. You cannot just have one or the other, because if only light exists, then light doesn't really exist, because darkness needs to exist. It needs to be an opposing to it, right? Both of them have wisdom in there. They allow you to grow. They allow you to see the fullness of your humanity and your divinity. Both are important. The ego is very important, okay? My ego is misguided, but always trying to protect me. And we're going to talk about that, because your ego is only misguided because of what it is that we feed it and tell it to do. We're going to get into that in a second, okay? Okay, beautiful. So the ego has a direct connection to the solar plexus. So on an energetic level, we're talking about like the energy centers in the body. The ego and the solar plexus are one and the same. That's where it lives in here, right? Solar plexus is also governed by the sun. That energy of warmth, that energy of leading, right? Of being seen. Let me rephrase that. Not of leading, but being seen, right? It's like this warm feeling. When you're tapping into your ego, your whole body kind of comes alive and you have this somewhat like adrenaline rush to go and get something done, right? That's your go-getter energy. That's where that comes from. It comes from the ego. So when we're talking about, there's three aspects to the whole being that I personally teach in one of my other classes, and it's the inner child, it's the ego, and it's your higher self, right? And yes, there could be different variations of this, but these are the three that I focus on because they just make it a little easier to digest what's happening internally. Your inner child is a child, right? It's a kid. It's not here to lead you. It's not here to go and get things done. It's here to create and to remind you to play and to be foundational in that aspect, to have that childlike wonder when you're looking at the world so that you don't get jaded, right? And that you don't end up feeling so heavy from all of the pain and grief that you're going to experience. You can remember that there is joy, that there is bliss, that there is peace involved in that. And that inner child energy provides that for us. That is all it's meant to do. When the inner child doesn't feel safe or seen, it will have tantrums to let you know, like, hey, we're not playing enough. I'm not happy. I can't connect back to my creativity, which means that I can't even be of service to you. What is my purpose, right? Then we have the higher self, which is on the other end of that spectrum. The higher self is the higher self, right? It's God, source, universe, whoever you call on to in your time of need, living within this physical vessel of you, right? And the more that you utilize your wellness techniques and tools, you'll be able to hear it clearer. But the higher self is not a go-getter energy either. It understands and it can see the full plan of life and how everything's supposed to be. So it's not going to be the one that gets you up in front of places and have you be seen or help you to go and live out your humanity. It's simply there to continue to keep you tapped into divinity, right? To remind you that you are a divine being having a human experience. That is its position. That is its intention in life. That's all that it does. Your ego is where you experience humanity. You need your ego. Your ego is where you experience humanity. It's where you have the need to go up and be seen. It's where you have the need to go up and share your purpose and your passion with the world, right? The creativity that you get from your inner child, you go and you build it into something that is tangible for the real world to experience. The wisdom you receive from your divine source, right? You internalize it, you upload it into the mind and you create it, and you're able to go and have these conversations and express that with the world around you. Your ego is the only part of the body that is able to do that. Without your ego, you literally are living an unfulfilled life. So it always blows my mind when people are constantly berating the ego and talking about how harmful and dangerous it is. You were created as a divine being. There's nothing within you that is bad. I would love for us to begin disassociating from the good and bad language that has happened due to whitewashing and wellness, right? It's not healthy for you to think that something in you is bad, is evil or negative. If it was going to harm you, why would source energy, whoever you call on to in your time of need, give you something that would intentionally harm you? Would intentionally cause you pain and havoc? Why would that be of you if you're a divine being? Right? These are questions I started asking myself on my wellness journey, because having that discourse with ego of like, this horrible thing lives within me that's going to just lead me astray was harming me in my wellness journey and in my spirituality, because there was this part of me that I did not like. There was this part of me that I hated, that I was just like, oh, I can't wait to get rid of this thing, and then I'll be whole, and then I'll be light, and then I'll be complete. When in fact, without it, I am incomplete. It is a part of my completion. Let me know if this makes sense to you guys in the comments, okay? I agree, but she's supposed to be happy. Ego is our inner adult. So Heidi, I like to think of it as ego is like the teenager. If the inner child is the inner child, right? I call my baby girl. If inner child is inner child, and the higher self is like that wise, adult, right? Or that elder kind of energy. I personally consider my ego to be like the teenager, young adult, right? Trying to be seen, trying to be outside, trying to show people how capable I am and what it is that I can do, but also to protect the vessel, right? Because the inner child doesn't necessarily protect anything because it's a child. And the higher self is just like, look, I know everything's gonna work out the way it's supposed to work out. So me trying to extend a level of protection in the physical world, like your path is going to get you where it needs to be. And that I'm trying to, in my mind, it's like, it's a feeling and it's a little interesting for me to put into words. But yes, your higher self is there to protect you, to give guidance and wisdom so that you are able to move in a way that allows you to feel safe. But that's like wisdom, right? Like putting that into action and putting it into the tangible physical reality that we are all existing in right now. That's what the ego does. So the ego does come to protect, and we're going to talk about that in a few. Okay, it does. Our ego also protects us. Yes. I like that. Lotus, you're a gem. How do we hold on to that? The universe will provide us with everything. Seems to go wrong. Yvonne, let's talk about that. Is this being recorded? It's being recorded on a different platform. Please make sure to check out the link in my bio on Insight Timer because I want to honor the regulations that Insight Timer has for me as a practitioner. But yes, it is being recorded. I will have it available for that. I just don't want to I don't want to go outside the guidelines. It's very important that I honor the space that we're in. But it is being recorded, okay? All right. So the ego also is where we begin to identify as an individual, right? When you think about the higher self, it's this collective energy. We are all one, right? And then you have the inner child where you're still connected to divinity in that way. Like, cause you're tapping into that understanding of like the collective creativity in which we all embody. But the ego is for you. The ego is for your vessel. The ego is just for you. It's your own specialized tool for you to navigate through the world, right? So when you are talking about individuality, it's just as important as collective understanding, right? They both are important. Again, light and dark, they're both important. It's not just about we are one and that's it. Because if that was the case, we wouldn't be having this human experience. We wouldn't have the ego would not exist. The ego also reminds you to be self first. And when I say self first, and I don't say selfish, and the reason why I say this is because there's a level of awareness and responsibility that comes with being self first. And the example that I always give is being self first is knowing that I need 2 to 3 hours to myself so that I can feel my best before I interact with other people, which means that I wake up at 7 or 6 a.m. so that by 9 a.m., I know I've taken really good care of myself and that I can give from my very best to all the people that I adore and I care for in the communities that I serve. Being selfish is knowing that I do need to take care of myself, but waking up whenever I want to, and then making sure I take care of myself first, even though I know I have responsibilities and obligations to my community and my loved ones, right? Both things at the end of the day are you taking care of yourself. One just allows you to do more. Being self-first means that I get that without me feeling my best, no one else can really benefit from my existence. So I have to take care of me first, satiate my needs first, make sure that I'm well cared for. And in me doing that, that overflow will happen and everyone that is in contact with me will receive the best that I can give in that moment without me exerting myself. Being selfish means I'm going to take back my time, take back my energy, take back my space that I gave willingly because now I realize that I need that in order to survive. Does that make sense? Yes, please. And if you're on the email list, that's great too, because I will add the recording into the email list. Oh, I really love that you guys are talking to each other in the comments. It makes me so happy. Okay. So yes, that individuality is what helps us to become self-first. That's where that self-first energy lives in the body. It lives in the ego. The ego is literally only trying to protect the vessel in which it lives in. It doesn't care about literally anything else. It doesn't care about anybody's feelings or anything. And again, that can feel like, okay, Lo, that sounds really crazy because I'm a very compassionate, empathetic person. Like I do care about other people and that's beautiful. And we want that. And that's really what your higher self does. Your higher self cares for other people, right? Your inner child is kind of a mix of like, I care for me because I want to have a good time, but also like I want to play with other people too and have a good time. Your ego is like, I care about you, nobody else. And we do need that level of ruthlessness in our care for ourselves, because the truth is many of us are very empathetic people, and we will give until it's our last drop, because we were taught that's nobility, that means that you really care. If you're depleted at the end of your day, then you have showed that person that you love them so much, and the ego is not here for that. And when we do not honor the fact that we got to take care of ourselves and make sure that we're good, the ego goes into hyperdrive, because it's like, oh, we have to survive because you're about to kill us. You're about to deplete either our spirit, us physically or emotionally or mentally, and we need to live out this experience. So then it shows up and it protects. And then that's when that misguided energy comes into play, right? Where we start doing things that feel super selfish of us to do. And we don't fully understand why we're doing it. Maybe we're a little meaner to people, or we're cutting people off, or we're really feeling ourselves a bit too much, right? We've completely lost sight of humility. That's because we have depleted ourselves and our ego is trying to regain balance. It's saying, hey, you went a little too far left, and we can't survive like this. We can't endure or sustain this type of lifestyle. So let's try going to the far right and see what happens. It's up to us to balance ourselves out, okay? Let me know how that feels for you guys. I did. Okay. Brittany, yeah, we're gonna teach you. Oh, thank you. Yvonne's, something I heard recently is that anxiety and gratitude happen in the same place in the brain, but it can't happen at the same time. Ooh, Brittany, that's really yummy. Gratitude really heals and shifts, therefore nothing goes wrong. It just happens the way it needs to. Ooh, yes, Brittany. That was really, really beautiful. Oh, okay, I have to sit with that for a second. Self-care is critical for me, so I can be a quality caregiver to my husband. Exactly, Pop. Merry Monday. So hi, Kayla, you're here. I'm so happy. Yes. And something else I would love to add to what Brittany said, because that was really incredible. And let me reread that out loud for people who are going to be watching the replay. So Brittany said, something I recently heard is that anxiety and gratitude happen in the same place in the brain, but can't happen at the same time. I love this. When I was in the beginning of my wellness journey, the way that they expressed anxiety was that anxiety and excitement show up in the body the same way. When you're feeling excitement, that's also how you feel with anxiety. It's just the intention attached to it. So when we have a negative intention where it's like, oh my God, something bad is going to happen, all of a sudden that same energy surge shifts into anxiety. Of like, now we're panicking about the future, right? But when we're like, oh my God, something good's about to happen, we're feeling excited and now we're super ready for the future. Same energy shows up in the body the exact same way too. You guys can check out the studies on this. Like it lights up the body the same way, anxiety and excitement. It's about the intentionality in which way it will affect you and how you process it. So I love that Brittany added in that understanding of gratitude, because gratitude and excitement go hand in hand too. Because when you are normally excited, you have this deep appreciation for what's going to come. And appreciation is another word for gratitude. So that full circle moment there is so yummy. And this is why I love when we talk in the comments. Okay, love this. Beautiful. Yes. Gratitude and anxiety cannot coexist. Ashe. It really cannot. Like when you think about it, if you're feeling really grateful and satisfied where you're at in this moment, what is there to fear in the future? Nothing. It's literally, it's how I feel about the word worry. You guys know we talk about that. Me and worrying. It doesn't make any sense. When I worry about things, it's literally just me taking my energy and my essence and pouring it into something that I genuinely don't want to happen and hyper focusing on that. When I can just focus on being grateful for who I am, what I have, the resources I have, the community that I have, grateful for the things that have not even happened yet. And that is a better use of my energy and alignment so that I can call in a life of more ease for myself, right? So when things keep going wrong and you have one of the worst days of your life and you think it can't get any worse than it does, how do you stay in the ego of the universe? How do you stay in the ego if the universe will provide for me? Yvonne, do you mind rewriting out that last part? Because I want to make sure I'm properly understanding what it is that you're stating, and I don't want to misread that. So let me know if it's right how you wrote it, then let me know. I'm not understanding it. But if you need to rewrite it really quickly, go ahead and do that. We talked about this last week in our lives. I personally spoke about a season in my life where I was really depressed and I just didn't necessarily want to be here physically, right? And it was a really hard time for me. I just felt like it wasn't going to get good. It's when you're in that state of hopelessness where you've just kind of given up on everything because it's just like back to back to back to back to back hits. And I spoke about how I was able to navigate that and move through that. And it was simply by choosing to show up and to allow myself to feel what I was feeling. It's not about disregarding the grief and the pain that you're feeling. Because when you start to lean into grief and see what it's there for, like what it's providing you, you witness that there's grace in that grief. There's an opportunity for you to feel more and to have more humanity for yourself and eventually for others. I don't necessarily know what path you're on, if you're a teacher or a practitioner, or if you have a calling on your heart to hold community. But when we have callings like that as practitioners, we tend to go through really hard times where you're just like, I don't think that there is anything else I can personally handle. And that is usually an invitation for you to collaborate with Source, God, whoever you call on to in your time of need, because you're probably trying to carry the weight of your existence by yourself and you're not meant to. And even if that's not something that you personally believe in, something that one of my prayer sisters said this morning is that people need people. It's when we are trying to do things all on our own that we feel like we no longer can take what is being given to us. But when we have a sense of community, whether that be what we're doing right now, we're in community, or whether you have a community that you can tap into physically in person, you're going to be able to share some of that weight. What it personally sounds like from what I'm reading, and again, of course, it's not a one-on-one, so I can't really give too much perspective on it. It sounds like you're carrying a lot, and it sounds like the universe and source is asking you to put it down. And maybe there might be a lack of trust that if you put it down, things will fall apart. But quite often when things are falling apart, they really are falling together. It's not a cliche saying, it's not like live, laugh, love, even though those things do make sense. It's really an invitation for you to trust in and have faith that things are going to work out. They may not work out the way that you want them to work out. But you have to also understand your understanding and your perception of things is very, for lack of better words, very narrow-minded, because you can only see and know but so much, because you're a human being having this experience. You've had your own set of traumas. You have your own set of beliefs that may or may not be yours, that are distinct, that are deciding how you're going to experience these things. These are all things that you would need to actively be working on rewiring your neural pathways in your brain to better show up for them. That's a whole nother conversation, right? But you might need to practice deepening your faith, not in yourself, if that feels like it's too much, or maybe in yourself, if that's what you need, but in the fact that you are a co-creator with universe and source. You are not doing this alone. And it sounds like it has felt like you have been alone in this. So my heart is with you in that, because I may not know that exact experience because I can't live this experience as you are, Yvonne. And it's so insane because your name is my grandmother's name. So this is such a beautiful moment for me personally. But in those moments where I felt alone, I felt hopeless, when I reflect back in hindsight, I was not leaning on my community. I didn't necessarily trust the community that I had personally, if we're being honest. I didn't really have a lot of faith in God or source. I kind of felt like if you were supposed to be here, I wouldn't be in these situations. Like, where was you at before I got into the situation, right? I had to really work on rebuilding my faith. And it was a practice, and it still is a practice. I've been practicing faith, like having faith. This is outside of any religion. I'm talking about literally having faith. Faith in the unknown. I've been practicing for over a decade. And I don't even think that I'm that great at it, because there are times where I'm just like, right? But you have to practice. And hopefully In this session that we're having together, when we get to the EFT section, you'll feel some type of relief that will help you to endure another day. Quite often, the breakdowns that we're having are really breakthroughs to help us see that there's so much more to life than what we can process in the moment. I don't know if that's going to help soothe you, but I hope that it provides some type of relief in this moment. Okay? How do we know that the universe will provide for us when we have not had an indication that it is, and that things will get more hectic out of life? Flashes of grief, yes. I see the grief can humble it at times, and everything bad teaches us good lessons, but it's just hard to believe the universe is providing me at times. And that's okay. Like, that's also so okay for you to feel like that, right? Like, that's a part of the human experience, and we don't talk about that enough. And I feel like sometimes the toxic positivity that happens in wellness makes us feel like, well, I'm supposed to be seeing these results ASAP, right? And sometimes you don't, but that's the human part of it. You are experiencing humanity as a divine being, which means that sometimes we forget the divinity part because humanity feels super real, right? When I get pinched, that it hurts. When I'm experiencing in my human form, it hurts. But that's what the vessel is for. It's meant for us to experience pain. It's meant for us to experience the different sensations that the body can hold. It's also meant for us to realize that in those moments of heaviness, when we are doubting the universe, we're also doubting ourselves. So a question that I would ask you to journal on is, do you trust yourself? Because if you don't trust yourself, you're gonna have a hard time trusting something that you don't see. You're gonna have a super hard time. When I was in that space of not trusting myself, you could not tell me anything about the universe. Because I'm like, I'm out here thugging it out, doing it by myself. What universe? What God? What source are you talking about? Because I'm struggling right now. And you're telling me to believe something that I cannot see. But I also want to invite you to remember faith, because you do practice faith every day, whether you realize it or not. You do have faith in the universe, right? Because every time you take a breath, you have faith that your body's going to cooperate the way that it needs to for you to continue living. Even though it sounds very small, it's super impactful. Your breath is an act of faith. You living in this moment is an act of faith. You finding this lie is an act of faith. It's there. It's just small. And I feel like maybe what you're experiencing feels so much more bigger that you're unable to see it. And again, I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, be like, girl, you're wrong. And I can accept that. Okay? Oh, Gary, yes, for this community. I love this. Gary, this too. Yes. I always try to look for the good in a situation, help me through. Yes, breakthroughs, not breakdowns. Yes. How about to begin stepping out of survival mode into a safer place? That's what the ego can help us do, Pop. It can help us step out of survival mode. Because the truth is, when you're in survival mode, you are unable to deal with anything else. Being in survival mode brings you out of your divinity. It's just strictly in your humanity. Humanity is messy, it's unreliable, it's inconsistent. It's humanity. It's part of what we signed up for when we came here to Earth to have this experience, right? Because if that's not what we wanted, we would have stayed in our divine being selves and just did whatever they do, right? So when we're talking about that and you understand what surviving means, survival means that you are literally trying to figure out how to meet your basic needs. And a lot of us are wired to believe that, our well-being, whether it be mental, spiritual, physical, or emotional, is not tied to our survival, because the reptilian brain is really old. It's like centuries old. So it's talking about like, how do we make sure that you eat, you sleep, and you hydrate, and you have shelter, if that. That's the only thing it cares about. And it cannot process anything bigger than that. Everything else outside of that feels super complex, and your brain is literally unable to register that. That's why when you notice that people are having moments of survival, it's like you're talking to a different human being, because they're not using any other parts of their brain except for the reptilian brain, which is saying, you need to survive. You need to survive. There are threats everywhere. You need to survive. Keep this body alive. That's the only thing that you're feeling. right? So when you want to step out of that, the first main thing I would always invite people to do is like to focus on your breath. And I know, again, it's like not just talking about something that's so easy to do, but it's actually really hard to focus on your breath when you're in survival mode. And for you to think about doing anything other than that is going to cause you more chaos, more confusion. I would focus on breathing because your breath is what keeps you alive. I just was talking about this last week. Your breath is so powerful. It is literally the only reason why you are tethered to this earth. Your breath keeps you in your body. So why don't we practice this now together as a collective before we move into the rest of this topic, okay? If you're able to, I invite you to get comfortable and maybe place your hands on your belly if that feels good, or place your hand on your heart. And I just want you to notice your breath. Notice your body. How does it feel to breathe right now? Are your inhales deep? Are they nourishing? Or are they short and shallow? How is your heartbeat? Does it feel like it's in rhythm? Or does it feel like it's pacing really, really fast? Is there any tension in your hips or in your shoulders? Is there a way for you to relax your face? Maybe you want to open your mouth a little bit, create some space between the lips, unlock your jaw, soften a little bit, drop your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Bring your shoulders up to the bottom of your earlobes and roll them back, opening up the heart space. Sitting or standing in this moment, invite a deep inhale. I want you to breathe into the lower belly as much as you can, not as much as you think you can, but as much as you actually can breathe into your belly. Breathe into the belly. Let that air rise up into the heart. And then I want you to do an HA exhale. And you want to do the HA exhale because it activates the vagus nerve, and that vagus nerve tells your body you're safe. And it's a surefire way to help you get out of survival mode. The body's programmed to do this. So let's take another inhale together, breathing into the lower belly, expanding that breath to the lower back, bringing it up into the heart. HA. I'm going to do another deep breath again. Deep inhale into the lower belly, expand to the lower back, breathe into the heart this time and see if you can breathe to the back of the heart. And exhale. And I want you to continue doing that breath. There's nothing else for you to focus on in this moment but your breath. Notice how you're able to bring oxygen into the body, to let it transform into nourishment, into the lungs, and then easily let go of what no longer is serving you from that breath you took. With each inhale, invite the body to soften. Soften the scalp, soften the forehead, the temples, behind the eyes. Feel the sensation of softness coming over the body. Soften the ears, soften the neck, your shoulders, your arms, your chest, your belly, your back. Feel yourself sinking into the moment as best as you can. Is breathe. Deep inhale, breathing in. Slow exhale, breathing out through the mouth. And when you breathe in, I want you to expand the belly as much as possible, because when we do that, we're hitting nerves in the belly that help to tell the body that we're safe. That's why we say deep inhales. There's a science behind it. It's talking to the body. Breathe in as much as you will allow your belly to expand. And when you exhale, bring the stomach in as close to the spine as possible. This is a communication to the body saying, we are safe. You're not in survival mode. We are okay in this moment. We are okay. All right? I'm going to keep reading through the comments, but I want you guys to continue breathing if that feels good. And Pav, what I would also suggest for you too is to drink water, because my next question would be is if you're hydrated, okay? How one finds positive in depression. Yes, okay, we could talk about that. When we're talking about finding positivity in depression, the way that depression was expressed to me when I was diagnosed, on a holistic level, of course, and it's what was expressed to me, you can take from this what feels good, is that we ebb and we flow. And I think of like the infinity sign. The infinity sign is like the 8. Oh my gosh, the 8. This is so bad. It's the 8 laying on its side. And those high points are when we are flowing in life. It just feels really good. Like, oh, yes, I feel in such alignment. Everything feels so good. And then we start to descend a little bit. I'm like, oh, I don't really feel that great today. And then we get to the point where we're ebbing and we feel really low. It's in the ebbing, it's in the depression where you're supposed to slow down. It's an invitation to your body on a spiritual and energetic level to slow down because you're moving too fast and there are too many variables in your life that do not align with you, which is why you don't feel good. You don't feel good because there's a lot happening in your environment or in your perspective and what you're thinking that does not honor your divine truth. I was taught that depression is an invitation to slow down, to feel back into my body, to one, remember that I have a body, because sometimes when we're in flow, we forget that we're just like, we're out here. We forget that the body needs things. The body needs proper rest, nourishment, water. It needs proper sunlight. Like there are so many things it needs. And when we get into flow, we forget all these things because we're just feeling so good. We're high off the energy, right? But then that energy has to be refilled again. And the depression, the ebb in life provides us time to do that because we haven't cultivated it for ourselves. So the intention is that eventually we will practice rest actively so that we don't have to have depressive moments. Now, this is what I'm saying on an energetic and spiritual level. Of course, when we're talking about depression, that there is a bit of a chemical imbalance in the body. I'm not going to speak to that because that's not my forte. I'm talking about how it shows up on an energetic and spiritual level, okay? So as someone who was diagnosed with acute depression, when I went about it the holistic route, that's what I was taught, is that in those moments of feeling heavy and depressed is an invitation for me to ask my body, what does it need? How is it feeling? And to really take inventory. How do you feel about the relationship that we're in? How do you feel about our friend group? How do you feel about this job? How do you feel about what we're learning, what we're taking in from the media? We're usually super overstimulated. And anything could be triggering us to have a depressive mode, a depressive episode, right? How do we feel about how we look? How do we feel about where we're living, what we're eating, the quality of water that we're consuming? There's so many things you can ask yourself in that moment that you would not ask yourself when you're flowing. Because when you're flowing, you're just like, it's a party. Oh my God, I'm just sharing so much of my love and my light with everyone. You're not asking any questions. You're living in the answers. But once you ask those questions, when you're in that depressive ebbing moment, all of a sudden, you start to have some more clarity and some momentum, and you're back to being in flow. And then you're going to have that moment again. Life is about movement. If there's anything we get from today's lives, like it's about making sure that your baseline can get higher if it can, but also honoring where it might be at, right? Some people have a very low threshold for happiness. Some people have a very high threshold for happiness. You don't really know which one it is until you have a depressive moment. And you get to really see like, oh, I'm way more sensitive than I realized. I need a lot for me to feel happy. And there's nothing wrong with that. Or you might notice that there's a lot of things that happen in life that doesn't get me down. I have a pretty high threshold. It's good for me to know. You're not going to know that until you have these moments. So as much as they suck, like feeling depressed and heavy suck. They're not great moments. I'm not going to lie to you. They suck. They suck. But they're invitations for you to tune in. It's your body saying, hey, I think you forgot about me. And I need you as much as you need me. But if you're not paying attention to me, I can't actually help you. And if you're not paying attention to me, I can't do anything. And vice versa. You're going to start to feel alone. When we are disconnected from the body and we're just living in the mind, that's where we can experience a lot of anxiety, right? Because we are trying to process all of life in this small little space. Okay? I know we glorify the brain, but it's small. And then we have this whole body that's meant for us to process energy and how we're showing up in life. The goal of wellness work, like EFT or somatic therapies, is to bring the mind and the body together so that you can process everything through the body and not feel alone. When we're feeling depressed, it's usually because we are living in the body without an awareness of it. We're disassociated from the mind. So all we feel is this heaviness, this sorrow, because the body's big. But when we're able to connect it back to the mind, we're able to remember, like, oh, wait, the body's trying to talk to me. Oh, snap. Let me pay attention. I'm wondering if this helps, okay? And I'm going to keep reading through the comments. I felt so alone carrying my burdens and struggles. Yes, just human connection can mean so much. It really can. We are meant to commune. So even if you're doing these lives with me, or you have I am very intentional about creating community. This to me is community. I look forward to these sessions with you for myself as well, because I'm human, right? I also have girlfriends. I have a prayer circle that I tap into 3 or 4 times a week because I need prayer. Yesterday, I felt horrible. I was crying for no reason. I was so sad, and I needed community. I don't know if you guys saw the fun fact on Instagram, the meme of like when we cry, there's protein, and the reason why the tears slow down is because it's a way for the body to communicate with another body, like, hey, come take care of me. I need support and love. Again, the body's magnificent. It really knows how to take care of itself if we let it, right? You need community. You're not meant to carry this by yourself. Oh, Susie, I'm so happy this is resonating with you. I've been there multiple times. Start with gratitude. Think of things that are good in life and where you're grateful for. And Kiana, I'm even going to make it even simpler. Start with satisfaction. When I was in the deepest part of my depression, I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder when I was like 22. And it was a severe case. It was not great at all. Most of the time. But one of the things I couldn't grasp gratitude. Gratitude was very hard for me to understand. It was hard for me to be grateful for my breath or my body or where it wasn't giving what it was supposed to give. I started with satisfaction, a very simple question. What is satisfying to me in this moment? Satisfaction is really easy. Satisfaction is like, okay, it feels kind of good to sit on this. It feels good to sit on my mat. Oh, you know what? My shirt, this feels good. It's just kind of satisfying. Or you know what? I do like these pearls. These are nice too. This feels good. I like this. Or I like or you know what? I did my hair today and I do like my hair. Or I like my nails. Or it's very tapping into your 5 senses and what is satisfying to the 5 senses. Because you need to do a body thing, not a mind thing. And when we think about gratitude, we get caught up in the complexities in the mind. But when we feel through the 5 senses, like, oh, this smells really good, right? Or this food tastes really good. This is satisfying to me. It becomes easier for us to then build up to gratitude. Satisfaction is like the base level of gratitude. And then you have gratitude, and you have appreciation, and you have praise. There's levels to it. But if you're having a hard time feeling grateful, practice satisfaction, What is satisfying to me in this moment? My fuzzy socks are satisfying to me in this moment. This really funny meme on Instagram is satisfying to me. I needed something to laugh at. Like, super, like, make it as simple as possible. And sometimes, like, you know what, for me, when I'm really, really not in a great headspace, I have a folder in my phone of things that are satisfying or things that will make me feel grateful. And that's pictures of my nieces and my nephew, pictures of like my girlfriends, or really sweet comments that you all leave for me during lives or that I get in DMs. I save all of them and I reread through them because sometimes I need physical proof that there are good things in my life because my brain is not allowing me to see it. And it's driving me crazy. So in those good moments when we're in flow, that's a great time to help you. Now that we all understand, here's an invitation. Now that we all understand that we're going to ebb and flow in life, when we're flowing, my invitation to you is that you prepare in the flow. You enjoy the flow. Don't suffocate the flow. Don't try to hold on to it because you're going to move. That's what's going to just get past that, right? But in the highness of life, in the flow, set things up for you because you know you're going to ebb eventually. Get a folder together or get a video or have things in place, a playlist. Let your friends know, like, hey, there are going to be some times where I'm going to feel like crap If I send you a purple heart emoji, that means that I feel like crap. And I'm asking if you can like maybe talk to me or hold space or send me a funny meme or something. You'd be so surprised at how much your community wants to care for you. It's not a lot to ask them to care for you. That's what they want to do. And if they don't want to do that, that's not your community. And then again, you have clarity to move past them. But I can send an SOS text to any one of my girlfriends and they will make space. Or they'll be like, girl, right now I'm going through my own thing, but I love you. And I have to also be willing to accept that too, because again, they're human as well. So that's my invitation when we leave this live. Use the ego, the gusto of the ego, to create a folder that feels good, a folder of satisfaction, a folder of gratitude. So when you don't feel great, you can go back to the moments when you did. I have videos of myself where I'm really happy, and I'll just record myself on my Snapchat because I'm like, I need to remember that this is possible for me, because sometimes I think that I've never achieved this, and I know that I have. Right? That's how I use my Instagram. People like, it's a highlight reel. It reminds me that I live a good life, because sometimes I forget. Okay? Recalibrating the nervous system and learning self-regulation, learning it now. You're going to learn some more when we EFT, girl. I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. Not girl. Being. Excuse me. I got so excited. Hello. Sometimes just loving yourself with the depression. Thank you, heart, for beating. Yeah. Again, satisfaction. I mean, it's funny, but like, it is satisfying that my heart is still beating. That's satisfying, because if it wasn't, I would not be aware of it. Like sometimes it's like having to kiki in the dark times of like, look at me breathing. And like, you need those moments. And I know it's like, okay, girl, you don't have to be making fun of that. But sometimes you have to, because the joy is there. It's just, are we willing to witness it? Joys are all the same way that we can feel sad and depressed all the time. We can also experience joy. It's there. It's there. It's available to us, y'all. It's available to us. Lots of self-love, self-compassion. Thank you so much, Susie. I found myself compassion for being in depressive states. Yes, it's hard right now, and I'm doing the best that I can. And even just changing the language around that. Like, I'm uncomfortable right now. Discomfort doesn't have to be a hard thing for us. That's a perspective shift. If this is uncomfortable, I'm not gonna lie, this is discomfort. Like, this is not my first choice. It's not my first choice. However, I'm aware of it. And that means something, even if I don't know what that means. And this is also reminding me of the understanding of contrast. And I'll just share this for a little bit too, because I just feel like I really appreciate you all for leaving the comments, because I really want to be able to provide you what you need. And I love how this sparks such a deep conversation between us. Contrast is something that Abraham Hicks talks about all the time. And I love it because it's one of my other favorite things to talk about. And maybe we could do a whole live on that, but I'll give you the gist. Contrast is when things happen in life that do not feel good. They're uncomfortable. They feel hard. We're not into it. Contrast is literally a part of clarity. When we are asking for good things in life, we need to know what those good things are. And most times we don't know. We're guessing what is good based off of what people have told us supposed to be good. It's good to be a millionaire, but really, like, do you have financial savvy to handle $1 million? Do you know where the money's going? Maybe not. You might get $1 million and freak out, right? We really don't know what people need, right? So what she talks about is that you experience contrast. And in that contrast, you look at it and say, okay, I witness the contrast that's happening in my life right now. Thank you, contrast, for showing me I don't want this anymore. This experience is not for me. Moving forward, when I have this experience again, I'm not going to engage because I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. Thank you so much, contrast, for showing me that. I would have not known that. Now I have more clarity to move towards the things that I do like, which normally is the opposite of what you're experiencing in the discomfort. That's why we have contrast. That's why we have the sad and happy moments. They help to clarify us. They help us to witness what we do actually want, because many of us only want what we are told to want, what we are conditioned to want, but not actually what the heart wants. When people normally ask for peace, they receive a lot of chaos. And people are like, I asked for peace, but I got chaos. The goal is to always know that there's always peace, even in chaos. Chaos is going to always be, because chaos, that's what chaos does. But peace is also there too. Are you willing to acknowledge it and focus your energy and your attention on it? Or are you going to continue to engage with chaos, even though you know you don't like it? And it doesn't feel good and there's no benefit to it for you. There's always a choice. And I know sometimes it feels like it's not when we're really heavy and we feel dysregulated in the body and our emotions feel like they're all over the place and we feel like we have no support or resources. There is the option of choice, and we can build to that understanding, that awareness. Because once you get there to understand that it's a choice, it's a game changer. Okay? All right, let me just make sure that we are keeping up with everyone, okay? Biggest nerve doing glue. I love that. Kiana was saying, what am I grateful for? Then feel so guilty for feeling low. It's the depression that makes you feel guilty, but that's not who you really are on the inside. No, it's not. Whenever I feel depressed, it's typically when I'm overstimulated, 1,000%. Thank you, Kiana. Appreciate you pointing that out, Lotus. It can be a chemical imbalance, but bringing it to spiritual is so important. Yes, I'm never going to not acknowledge that. Like, whether you need meditation or medication, that's for you and your journey. I've used both in my journey to help me get through really tough times. I don't discriminate. However you can get to feeling good is all I care about. As long as it's not harming you, that's what I hold space for. Okay? I didn't learn that much until later to tap into my spirituality when I was struggling with depression. Yes, depression makes you feel helpless. Yes, hopeless. Yes, it does, Brittany. Some advice I've seen was to start requesting change. Yes, if a server gets your order wrong, speak up so they can get it right rather than accept it for what it is. That's such a good, that's an act of satisfaction, right? I don't like this. It's also a way for you to practice authority over your life. That's really what that stems down to, when we have authority. Because a lot of times too, when we're feeling these heavy, complex feelings, it's because we don't feel like we have authority over our lives. We feel like we just are going to accept whatever life gives us and we don't have a choice. But you do have a choice. And you can begin practicing the art and the influence that choice can provide you, right? By doing things like that of like, I actually don't like this. Can I have this changed? And yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable at first. Of like, dang, the server's about to go back and take it back. The chef's going to be like, oh my God, like this girl's like what I made. Who is this person? What do you think they are? That is literally none of your business. How they take your request is none of your business. The only thing that matters is that your request is honored. And that's a great way to start. It is a super simple but powerful practice. Same thing with getting your hair done, with getting your nails done. For all my femme bodies, a lot of us sit there and get our hair done and hate it and leave and be like, oh my God. In the moment, express like, this is not what I envisioned for myself. Let's fix this. And then learning to be patient as you wait for your request to be honored is that second half that people don't talk about. It's one thing to speak up and ask for it. It's another thing to wait and believe that you're going to receive it, because that might take longer than you think. It might take the chef another 30 minutes to put something together for your food to be what it needs to be. Are you willing to wait that long for what you deserve and what you ask for is the other part to that. And sometimes we are, and sometimes we're not. But the more you practice your well-being, the more that you regulate your nervous system, the easier that wait becomes for you, okay? Okay, I am trying to keep up with all the beautiful comments, guys. I'm so sorry. Lotus, I felt the same way you did last few days. Yeah, that Mercury retrograde, y'all. Setting boundaries helps. It sure does. I was diagnosed with bipolar and I had an attempt, and it was difficult. Yep, same with me too. But I look at, and even with that, I look at my attempt as a blessing. Like I look at it now and it can bring me to tears. I think about the fact that like I wouldn't have known my niece or my nephew, and that can bring me to tears at any moment. And I used to feel guilty. Like, wow, you're about to give up on life because this moment was so heavy and you would have missed out on all of these beautiful moments. And it used to make me feel really bad. And now I've been able to transmute that into feeling really good. Like, wow, I still stayed. That's huge. And people don't understand that until you're in that experience. But if you're still here, I am so in awe of you. And I really hope that you savor those really beautiful moments that are still here for you. Okay? Yes, you do have this, Keep coming back to us. Yes, please be coming back. I'm going to keep doing these weekly lives because I just want to be here with you all too. I find it difficult that it's people close to me, And if it's people close to you, it might be time to switch up the circle, okay? If there's one thing about me, I will switch up a circle if I need to, because again, I need to make sure that I feel safe. I put up pictures of myself around my house with me smiling and being happy. Candace is beautiful to remind me of the good when I'm feeling down. So helpful. Visualization, being able to see yourself happy is so helpful. Like, I think that's what we should be using social media for, honestly. Like, use your social media to help you when you're feeling freaking horrible, as opposed to like having it add to you feeling horrible, Where do you draw the line between allowing yourself to feel the feels and acknowledge the feelings and dwell in them? Mia, it comes down to understanding how emotions work. Emotions are energy in motion. That's all that they are. That's it. It's very simple. It's energy in motion in your body. Emotions are guides. They're like lighthouses to let you know what is supposed to be happening, that alignment of feeling good, and what doesn't. When you're not feeling aligned and you don't feel good, all you have to tell yourself is, this is contrast. I'm feeling this emotion because I don't like this thing. That's going to help you not dwell on that. Because once I know it's because I don't like it, why am I still giving you my energy and attention? I don't like you. I don't like this thing, right? And if you find that you are still dwelling on those feelings when you have that awareness that it's contrast, when you have that awareness that it's something that you don't want anymore, I would personally invite you to go and seek professional support, whether it be with a practitioner or a therapist, because you might be dysregulated in your nervous system, right? And then that's a whole other thing that you can't do on your own. So then again, you need that community to help you navigate that. So if the awareness of this is contrast and I don't like it, and now I'm aware of it, if that doesn't shift you with practice, then I invite you to keep coming to spaces like this, or to find a practitioner or a therapist to help you begin. And again, a trauma-informed therapist or practitioner, please. If they're not trauma-informed, no mas. They need to be able to understand how to navigate trauma, because normally what you're experiencing is a symptom of trauma. And if they don't understand that it's trauma, they're going to try to address it from a way that is not going to help you, because it's not addressing the root, okay? Have to be trauma-informed. Please, trauma-informed. I'm a trauma-informed practitioner. I have my certification in it. It has changed my life and how I'm able to show up in my practice for myself and for other people. Because when you realize what trauma is and how it affects every decision you could possibly ever make, every move you make, you have a different level of understanding, compassion for people and what it is that they're navigating. Sometimes with therapists, they're coming from a very logical point of view and they're not addressing trauma, and there's a disconnect there, and you could feel unseen and unsafe. But if they are trauma-informed, the same thing goes for practitioners, because sometimes we like to use spiritual bypass in our work, right? We forget that we were once in a different space. You need the trauma-informed to help you navigate that. Let me know if that helps you, Mia, okay? I also have positive affirmations on my walls and doors to help. Yes, I would also suggest using those positive affirmations and tapping, Kiana, or hovering, okay? Like doing the sequence, that'll help you as well too. And we'll do EFT for that as well. I think I might switch up the EFT for tonight though. I think I'm gonna do something different. We're not gonna do it on the ego. Let's see, the serenity prayers on my kitchen. Yes, super big. Yes, I love these reminders. Okay. Jess, this is a great strategy on many levels. Starting with satisfaction will actually get you back into your body sensations, which can be hard when yes, exactly. When we're feeling depressed, we feel paralyzed. We don't want to move. And the truth is, you don't want to move because you know that if you start moving, you're gonna start feeling better. It's also kind of a symptom of an unhealthy ego, of the ego being but if you don't move, you're safe though. The ego does that sometimes. This is why I was saying the ego is not meant to lead you. The ego is a tool. When you allow it to be a tool, it will do so much more for you in life. If you let it lead your life, you're going to experience a lot of ups and downs, crazy ups and crazy downs. The ego doesn't have a baseline. It doesn't know how to live in the middle. That's not its goal. That's not what it was designed to do. That's not even its purpose. You tell it, you guide your ego to where it needs to be. Okay? So when you feel like you're getting frozen in the body and you don't want to move your body, I encourage you to move your body. It doesn't have to be a freaking 45-minute yoga flow. It could be something as simple as laying on the ground. Whenever I have a client that contacts me that they're feeling overwhelmed or they're starting to feel a depressive moment or anxiety, the first thing I tell them to do is to drink water because they're most likely dehydrated. That's another thing. If your emotions you feel like you're drowning in your emotions, you probably are not hydrated. It's your body saying hydrate. Water and emotions go hand in hand. There's a reason why, on a spiritual and wellness level, water is symbolic of emotions. They really do affect you that way. And if we are 70+% water and we're dehydrated, how are you guys going to show up in the body? That's not going to be comfortable. It's going to be discomfort. So one thing I say is drink water. The second thing is lay on the ground. Belly to the sky, back on the ground if you can. Spread your legs open like a starfish, your arms, palms facing up if you are looking to relieve some energy, or palms facing down if you're feeling overwhelmed. So anxiety, palms facing down. Depression, palms facing up. And lay there. You'll notice that you're going to start to cry. You might start to sway back and forth. Your body's going to know what to do. The goal is to get back to your body so your body can take care of you, because your body knows what to do. Your body has an insane amount of wisdom and it can do things innately. That's why you might notice that when you get overwhelmed, you might start swaying or you start tapping your foot or whatever. Your body's trying to regulate. That's all it's trying to do. It knows what to do, but we don't allow it the space to do so. Okay? Lotus, this is so helpful. Jen, yay, you're speaking about things that have given me so much hope, but also understanding things I haven't been able to. Jen, this makes me so happy to hear. My family just had their Christmas last weekend. My boundary was ignoring it and not going. I love that you were able to do this, Yvonne. Did it hurt? Yes, but sometimes the people that hurt the most are the closest to us. Yeah. John, I wasn't able to see your initial message. I'm so sorry. The comments were going really fast, but I'm so happy that you're getting support in the comments, okay? Right, just washing your hair can be satisfying, clearing the kitchen. Yes, clean the kitchen. Washing your hair is super sacred, y'all. Washing your hair is cleansing the crown chakra. That's a surefire way to feel better. Washing your hair, a little bit of peppermint, surefire way for you to feel like all that confusion that you're feeling instantly goes away. We carry energy. Energy is everything and it's everywhere and everything all the time. Everything's energy. My nail color polish is energy. Like, yeah, it can be as simple as washing your hair and reminding your body to come back into itself. Smelling the fragrance of your shampoo. It's a very sensual experience, right? Rinsing it, using the water to cleanse. Water is about rebirth as well. It provides rebirth. That's why in movies, when people are about to have a whole transformation, it either rains, they're near the water, or they're in the ocean, or they have like some type of bath, and the girl goes in the bath and she comes up and she's a new person. It's all around us. Like, it's there. It's there. It's there, bro. We're paying attention, okay? It's a really great way. I love that. I guess I'll start cleaning with loud music. Yes, get a playlist going, okay? Start cleaning. Cleaning is amazing too, because when we are feeling depressed and our experience, our environment is very clogged and cluttered, it just reaffirms the depression, right? But when we start to clean things up, it's actually telling the mind, like, hey, we actually have the ability to shift things if we need to. Everything has a home, and put them in the home so I can feel at home, okay? Let's see. Sometimes you have to remove yourself and create boundaries to create your peace, John. Nothing wrong with that. Yes, boundary setting is so important. And I feel like maybe we'll do that for an upcoming live talking about boundary setting, because I love talking about boundaries. We have our family Christmas next week. I'm kind of dreading it as well. I know that there will be stress and conflict of some sort. Go, if you're going to attend, my first thing would be to tell you not to attend. But again, that's just me. I don't go places I don't want to go. Like, no. I have experienced enough sadness and discomfort for me to know that being somewhere around people that are going to willingly trigger me and I don't have the tools to regulate is a dangerous cocktail for me. And I'm only harming myself. I know that for me. I don't know where you're at in your journey. But my invitation would be to you to not go, find something else to do, or have a timer of how long you're going to be there. Maybe be there for a good 20 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever your capacity is, and then go and leave. Or when you get there, in the moment that you feel triggered, getting up and leaving, right? You might have to practice doing that because I don't know how deep your bond is with your family or your obligation, your sense of obligation to them is, right? But if you are there, then this is when I would invite you to have tools. I would suggest that you tap before you go. That'd be really important. Make sure that you're hydrated before you go and that you're well rested and that you have proper nourishment in the body. Make sure that your vitamin D levels and your vitamin B12 and your iron is where it needs to be, because these are all things that affect how you're going to perceive what people say to you. Because once you start operating from a regulated body, you'd be so surprised how many things just roll off your shoulders and don't bother you. You're just kind of like, okay, wow. Are you feeling better after saying that? Because I genuinely don't care. And not even in a mean or petty or malicious way. It just does not affect me the way you thought it was going to. You know, sometimes that happens as you begin to regulate. You realize that these things that people say to you, these things that people do have everything to do with who they are, nothing to do with you. You just happen to be there. Okay. Everyone can see a huge strides you made since you've been visible. Yes, you're so good. Let's talk about Susie. Bye. Just don't go avoid trauma. Thank you, Gary. I need to get better at doing that. I'm so bad at setting boundaries. We will do a boundaries. We'll do one. We'll do a boundaries live for sure. It's never too late, John. I thought too it was bad at boundaries. That's good. Everybody's great at boundaries. Let me tell you something. We're all good at boundaries. We're all good at it. Because when you, oh my goodness, guys, this conversation, hopefully, I hope I'm not overwhelming you. If I'm overwhelming, just play low. I really appreciate all these insights, but girl, can we just go back to the topic? I'm going to respect that too, okay? But boundaries, when you understand what they are, it changes everything for you. Boundaries are literally just a safeguard to keep you safe. I don't know where we get this perspective like boundaries keep people in check. No, boundaries are a fence for you to make sure everything inside of the fence is good for you. You don't care about what's happening outside the fence. That's your business. The point is my fence is closed. And if I want to invite you in, you can come in a little closer. But if I don't, respect the fence because the fence is there. And you have to respect the fence because I respect the fence. Most times we don't respect our boundaries, so other people don't respect our boundaries. That's usually what it is. It's either that you don't have any or that you don't respect your boundaries, because there's a different energy that comes up in you when you respect your boundaries. And people think that it's like, well, no, I have to tell people and I have to assert myself. No. Again, energy is everything. When your energy is aligned and you understand the value of your boundaries, people will too, whether they get it or not. I had a very overbearing mother, super aggressive, where I didn't have my boundaries and she was rocking my world in ways I could not understand. The moment that I started acknowledging my boundaries and practicing them for me, like, okay, you can't do this because it'll make you feel bad. I don't care about the other people. I know that sounds really insensitive, but like, that's where the ego comes in, that ruthlessness. That's what I was talking about earlier. You need that ruthlessness because it helps in these moments like this in setting boundaries, right? I know this is what I need. So I don't care what you think I need because I know myself enough to know what I need. And what I need is to stay in my fence and for you to stay out of it. And you can only come in as if I let you, because my energy is that strong and my ego is willing to protect me. And I have divine guidance from my higher self to make sure that that's what's going to happen. Because what I said is what I said. Now, do you believe that? It's a whole different conversation, right? But boundaries just keep you safe. It's not about keeping other people out. When you start focusing on other people, you give them energy, you give them power, and your boundaries just fall away. It's not about them. Boundaries are not about other people. It's about you. It's only about you. It's a small hack, but once you have that perspective, it makes it so much more easier for you to set your boundaries because you're just keeping yourself safe. Okay? Okay. Hello, just joined. Hi, Summer Star. Did I miss tapping? You did not. We're gonna start tapping now because I'm just going through the comments. Okay, we're just having a really beautiful, in-depth conversation about it was about the ego, and it still is about the ego, but the ego in different ways. It's been very fascinating. Scottish too. It appears some people aren't happy unless they are pissing somebody off. The problem is that we have not to engage. Yes, I'm doing my best to read the comments out loud, Summer Star. You haven't missed tapping yet. No. How do you tell a family member to stop phoning you nicely? Because you don't tell them. You don't tell them to stop phoning you. You don't answer when they call, because eventually they're like, dang, they're not answering when I call them. Maybe I should stop calling. That's how I would set a boundary. Sometimes the use of over communicating things doesn't help, because if this person can't comprehend what you're saying, you're wasting your energy and your breath. They can't comprehend what you're saying, but they will understand your actions. Sometimes being like, hey, if you don't mind, that's why I have this issue with being nice. Like, I'm not a nice person, I'm a kind person, because being nice, you get stepped on, but being kind means I'm coming from my heart, which means there's also a level of divine protection in that. But I wouldn't answer the phone. That's my boundary. Because I'm sure at some point in time you've expressed that. Now, if you haven't expressed that, then you need to express it once. Hey, you call a lot, and I know that you feel like there's a lot of things you want to let me know. I want you to gather that together, so when I do call and have the capacity to speak to you, we can get that in, all that information in that call. Other than that, do not call me unless it's an emergency. And if it is, text me, because then you can read it and see if it is an actual emergency or not. Because sometimes what you think is an emergency is not their emergency. And again, it's a comprehension thing, right? But I wouldn't answer the call. Like, oh, I called you. I saw. I was unavailable then. Oh, I called you again. You didn't answer because I was unavailable. And when you answer the phone, like, oh, you answer the phone, I see, because I'm available. They're going to be annoyed and they're going to be like, but that's not your concern. It's not your business. Your business is making sure that you feel safe and seen. Again, that's where that ego comes into play. The compassion in you is that higher self, like, I want people, and the inner child, like, I want people to like know that I care. I want to be seen. Your ego is like, I just want to make sure I'm straight, because I feel like you play too much with me, and I'm not into it. It's not giving what I needed to give, and I'm a exit left. I will walk away, because I'm not going to engage with you and give you more energy to keep messing up. No, I just want to answer the call. Nope, you're fixing it right now, man. Okay, I'm learning how to feel. It's not as easy as expected, but I didn't realize I was doing so much to avoid it. Okay, no need waking up to my truth. I was doing a trip. I love that you're learning how to feel. That's so beautiful. Use EFT outside this practice, but I have other tracks on Insight Timer, and that's a great way to help you practice feeling. When we've lived numb for a very long time, because the opposite of feeling is being numb, right? When we live in numbness for so long, it can be very jarring to feel, because you're going to feel waves of joy and waves of grief and waves of pain and waves of pleasure. And it's going to be like, this is a lot for me. EFT is going to help you regulate, so it's not as bad. Okay. Put your phone on D&D. Really good. Speak about the salon. Yes. Please speak about the salon. Like, enough is enough. Okay. Yvonne, can you set your phone? Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm definitely going to have to put my foot down and make sure. Yes, it's making me feel miserable, and you don't deserve to feel like that at all, John. Good love, John. Peace and harmony. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, absolutely. I think the universe is giving me the chance of life. Yes, Kiana. I'm happy to be here with you, Lotus. Same. So how do you stay in line with the universe when you wonder if you are the common denominator? All right, this is not gonna. I'm going to say this with love, but we usually are the common denominator to our unhappiness. It usually is us, because everything is us. Like, it's our life. I'm living my life. You can't live my life for me. I can live my life for you. So it's my choices that I am making. Now, whether they're conscious or subconscious is, again, a different conversation, but I'm still making these choices that are not making me happy. Right? Which again is that invitation to look at it as I'm experiencing a lot of contrast, and I'm given a lot of opportunities to clarify what I do want. My question would be, are you taking the opportunities that are coming up? When you're not feeling good about something, when you're experiencing something that you don't like, are you taking the time to witness that you don't like it and to move on from it and to change the narrative and to begin practicing living in a different life? Because we're going to be we're the common denominator for our joy and our unhappiness. They both lie with us. It's not anyone else's responsibility on this earth for you to be happy but you. And I have to find that for myself too. Sometimes I'll tell my partner, like, oh, you make me so happy. And I correct myself, like, you know what? No, you bring me a lot of joy. But I'm allowing myself to feel happy with you because that's really the truth. And when we get to change that language with ourselves, it makes it easier for us to show up in those harder times and witness our authority that we have over our lives. Okay? Terrible at drinking water. Find a way to make water more exciting. Maybe you want to add some fruit to it, but water is super important because if you're not drinking water, you're probably having a super emotionally driven life. Okay. Thank you, Betty. Totally understand. I'm born East Kilburn. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I love how we're connecting over culture. Yes, water. I love good bath. Same. Thank you, Lois. We appreciate it. John, of course, is unregulated body results in depression. Yes. If you're experiencing other than feeling good, you will have an unregulated body. Very simple. You have an unregulated body. That's it. When I'm feeling some type of sadness or heaviness, my body's unregulated. The goal is to regulate and to also understand that you're not going to be regulated 24/7. It's like trying to be happy all the time. It's not how humanity works. You're going to have moments where you're dysregulated. Even as a practitioner, I get dysregulated way more than I would like to. But it's an opportunity for me to continue practicing. That's why I say I'm a practitioner and not a master, right? I'm practicing this with you all too. So yeah, you're going to be unregulated. That's completely normal and okay. It doesn't mean something's wrong with you or something's bad. It just simply means that you get opportunities to practice strengthening your ability to be regulated. Because the goal is that when you get triggered by something, instead of letting that trigger send you into dismal, you're able to be like, I feel triggered and I'm going to take care of myself now. And I can speak from experience that you can get to that point in regulating your body. So the moment you experience discomfort, your initial response is to take care of yourself or to find a safe community or resource to help you regulate yourself when you can't. Okay? Why is your fence closed? My fence is closed because unless I invite you into the inner realms of Lotus, you're not invited. Right? Because some people don't need to. Some people could just see the house and the lawn and everything that like, oh, cute, 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 cute. Yeah, you don't need to come in and sit on my grass and come in my house unless I invite you. And that's what boundaries help us do. Remember, a boundary is not a barrier. This is not a cement wall where no one can see anything that's happening when you're closed off to the world. That's why I say it's a cute little white picket fence. You can see what's happening over here, observe and things like that. But if I don't invite you into that, don't step foot on my lawn. Okay? Because no bueno. That's when a whole other, my protective side, that fierce, that savage, that ego side will come up to protect me because you're not respecting the boundaries that I have so clearly set out for both of us to respect. And the same thing goes for you. You have to respect people's boundaries too. You may want to be like, oh, but I want to be there for them. But if they say that this is where you are, or where you need to be, you got to respect that because that's what they need for them to feel safe. Okay? I found you're too kind to people. When you are too nice to people, people walk all over you. Niceness is politics, right? People politics. Being kind means that I'm operating from my heart and my divinity. If you're operating from your heart and your divinity, no one can walk over you. No one can walk over divinity. No one can walk over your heart unless you are willingly giving it to them for them to do that. I didn't say give your heart. I said come from your heart, right? When I'm kind, I'm moving from a sense of compassion. It's like, damn, we all go through things. I have my ups and my downs too. I feel you. But I'm going to honor my boundaries and that I said what I said and you disrespected what I said. Understandable. Because I don't know what journey you're on, but you can't continue the journey with me. Because then I'm going to feel unsafe. That's kindness. Being nice is, oh my God, I get it. We all go through things. It's okay. Like, don't worry. Like, oh, don't even worry about it. Like, it's okay. Like, we'll just move forward from this. No, I'm not here to people please. I'm here to live life, right? You can never be too kind. You can be super nice. And yeah, niceness, it's a surface level act. There's no substance to being nice. I think it's like there's a lot of weird energy with the word nice. Like there's nothing about that. Kindness, there's a level of wisdom and insight that comes from being kind, right? Kindness comes from I've lived life, so I get it. Or I've lived life, I'm going to have that experience, but I can hold space for you. There's that. There's an understanding between the two words. They're used synonymously and they shouldn't be. Kindness and niceness are two separate things. I'm not nice. I don't want anyone to ever think that I'm nice. I'm not here for people politics. No, I'm kind though. I'm so kind. And I'm really proud of myself for that. Because being kind is a brave thing to do in such a world that we live in. Being nice is a survival mechanism to navigate the world that we live in. I'm not trying to survive anymore. I know that I can survive. I'm trying to thrive. I'm trying to enjoy this life. Kindness allows me to do that. Niceness doesn't. I love this. Happy found you, Lotus. I'm so happy you found me too. Oh my goodness. Yes. Stop picking up when she texts. Like, girl, find someone else to talk to because I'm also not the person you can be talking to. That's totally fine. Oh my goodness, yes. Thank you guys for the donations. I completely forgot. I'm almost coming to the end of the live. If anything resonated with you in today's live, please leave a donation. It allows me to continue showing up and doing what I do. Don't do this just for me, but for any live that you are on, any practitioners on this platform. This is how we feed ourselves and clothe ourselves. This is our livelihood. So whatever you can give and donate is deeply appreciated. Even if it's a thank you and you just spend the time with me, that means a lot to me too. Okay, I don't want you to just think it's for money, but also we live in a capitalistic world, so both things can be true at the same time. Okay, Victoria, let's see. Something that's really helped me is when you said flexibility is one of your earlier sessions. Yes, like ever since I've been thinking about preparedness and flexibility and practicing all these things, I felt so much more able to regulate. Yes, Victoria, I love this for you. Flexibility and preparedness, man. They have you ready to take on the world. Like, hey, I get it now. I understand life now. Okay, we literally have less than a minute left. And I want to make sure I got through all the comments. And we need to tap. So I want to tap now. If you guys have an extra 5 minutes, we'll tap. If you don't have 5 minutes, don't worry. I will be dropping more EFT tracks on Insight Timer. Please make sure you're following me on the app and that you join my group, Live and Love with Lotus. I drop all my new releases there first. We have community and conversation. It's really nice, and I would love to have more people there to keep the flow of the conversation going in there. I will be going live again next week. It's not going to be on Monday because it is Christmas, and I want to respect those that honor the holidays. It'll be on Tuesday on the 26th around 4 o'clock again. So if you want to join me then, be on the lookout. I'll drop it for you guys to RSVP. And you can follow me on all platforms. I'm going to just put the handle here. And this is literally any platform you can think of. I'm usually on it. And I'm on it so that I can connect with you guys. Okay. Thank you so much, Linda, for the donation. Thank you so much, S, for the donation. Gary, thank you for the donation. I really appreciate it. I'm so happy you found me too, Noni. Yes. Let's tap. Okay. If you've never tapped me before, don't worry. I'm going to guide you. I'm going to hold you in this experience. We're going to do an intuitive tapping because this is what we're being led to do, okay? I'm going to go over the 9 tapping points really quickly. But before I do that, if you know that you are a very emotional or sensitive, empathetic person, I want you to pay attention to the alternative ways to tap because tapping might overstimulate you, okay? And if you find that when you're tapping that you don't feel good or you feel nauseous or you feel unwell, I want you to immediately stop, drink some water, maybe give yourself a hug to ground yourself, focusing on your breath, and then we can build from there, okay? Super important that we pay attention to that. So what we'll do is we'll go over the 9 tapping points after this. Sorry, I just saw a really beautiful person. Okay, so some ways for you to tap. You can tap, and it's a light tap. We're not hurting ourselves. Light tap, one way to do it. Or you can press, like a nice little pulse, okay? You can rub, which is very soothing. Sometimes I'm like, oof, I need to rub. Or you can hover, okay? Again, your energy pathways run through the body and outside the body. You can literally do this and still be getting the same amount of effort and energy as touching your body. If you are super sensitive, like oh, I feel things really deeply, I'm going to suggest that you just hover. Hover and trust the process. But if you're like, oh, these other alternatives feel good too, try any one of them out, whatever feels good. When we go over the 9 tapping points, you'll notice that there might be a tapping point that feels really good to the body. I like to call that your sweet spot. If it feels good there, I want you to stay in that tapping point because we're talking to the body in its own language and your body might need more love and care there, okay? So first tapping point is the side of the hand where my tattoo is. It could be either side, doesn't matter. You're gonna let it tap, press, rub, or hover here, okay? I'm gonna tap, this is what I do. Top of the head, the crown chakra, the center of your head. You would do the same thing, one hand or both hands, doesn't matter. Then we would go to the start of the brow, which is right here. Then we would trace the eyebrow to the end of the eyebrow. You're gonna feel that ocular bone. You're gonna tap on the bone, not the temple, the bone. And you're gonna tap here. You would trace underneath the eye. You still feel that bone underneath the eye, and you would tap there. Underneath the nose here, you could tap here. 1 finger, 2 fingers, doesn't matter. Then that crease in the chin is another tapping point. Then we have the collarbone. We would tap here. And then we have underneath the arm, the end of the armpit. For those that wear bras, it would be where your bra strap is. You would tap there. You could tap for both or just one. And that is going to be our 9 tapping points. You don't have to remember them. I'm going to be showing you visually. I just want to show you what it's going to look like, okay? Beautiful. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to tap on what we learned today, all right? So we're going to start off with a sip of water. If you don't have water, drink water after the session immediately, especially because you received a lot of information. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed or off when you're reflecting on it. So we're taking some water. All right, ready? Start off in the first position, which is the side of hand. And take a nice deep inhale, exhale here. And we're gonna do that breath that we did earlier in today's talk, where we expand the belly as much as possible to activate the little nerves that tell the vagus, the big nerve, the vagus nerve, that we are safe and sound. So breathe in as deep as possible. And when you exhale, HA, or whoo. You can repeat after me. Even though I'm still navigating life and I feel a lot of ups and downs, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. We're going to move to the head. Today I witnessed that there's so much for me to reflect on. We're going to start the brow, tap here. I need to explore my boundaries more. Tapping into gratitude. Navigating the ebbs and flows in life. I'm going to go to the side of the eye, tap here. But I also realized and witnessed that I'm not alone. That there are people all over the world who have similar experiences. Underneath the eye, tap here. And it's crazy because I felt so alone, thinking that I was the only one who could go through these things. Underneath the nose, tap here. And here I am in community with all walks of life. And it feels good. I feel good. Chin. It feels good to not be alone in this. It feels good to share my vulnerability with others and see how they show up for me. Collarbone, top here. And in this experience, I realized that I can show up for others too. I am wise and I am capable and I am bigger than the heaviness I was feeling, than the anxiety I was feeling, than the sadness I was feeling. Underneath the arms up here. And I'm grateful for this moment. I'm grateful for myself that I showed up and I shared my light and my darkness. Top of the head. Something I didn't think I could do. I did from the comfort of my space, my safe space. And I was met with open hearts and open minds. Start the brow, top here. I'm witnessing my body right now as I'm tapping and taking deep inhales and slow exhales. How capable my body is. I'm gonna go to the side of the eye up here. I really trust in this moment. I invite peace in this moment. I invite love into this moment. I invite acceptance into this moment. Underneath the eye, top here. And moving forward, I'm going to practice. Practice feeling satisfied, feeling grateful, honoring my boundaries, loving my ego. Underneath the nose, top here. Remembering that there is nothing in me that is evil or misguided. Everything within me exists to help me in this experience. Chin, top here. It's up to me to co-create. It's up to me to lead. Collarbone, top here. And it's also up to me to honor when I can't. To tap into the universe, source, God, whoever you call on to, and ask them for their help, for their guidance, for their grace, for their love. Because I am a divine being, but I'm having a very human experience. Underneath the arm, top here. I'm so happy to witness that, to realize that I have community, resources, so many things to help me feel aligned in my mind, and in my body. We're going to go back to the side of hand to close out. I am proud of my bravery in showing up today, in sharing and listening and holding space and allowing space to be held for me. And when it feels good, I want you to bring your hands over your heart space. Just notice your heartbeat. Notice how your body feels. Invite a deep inhale, exhale, breathing into the belly, expanding into the heart. Exhale, letting go, sinking in deeper, feeling the weight of your hands on your heart space. And repeat after me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your open heart and your open mind. And when it feels good, you can drop your hands into your lap. And we're just going to check in and see how everybody's feeling. Okay. And of course, if you have some water, sip some water. And let me know how you're feeling in the comments below before we close out. If you have to go ahead, head on out. I hope you have a really good holiday. No matter what you're celebrating, I hope that you practice these things that we've talked about, or at least reflect on them, okay? Honor yourself, utilize any one of my tracks to help you get through. I have things that help you move through each day, through the month, through the week, help you tap into gratitude. I'll be dropping a forgiveness one soon. You'll have enough resources to help you navigate through. But I hope that you continue to invite tapping into your daily experience. It is a very effective and efficient way to self-regulate, okay? Y'all are so welcome. Yay. Yes. See, Victoria, the rubbing. Sometimes about the rubbing, I'm just like when I need a little bit of like a TLC, I'm like, I'm just gonna rub on myself. It feels good. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Yay, yay. Please, thank you. I'm so happy it's your first time. Hope to see you guys next week, Tuesday, 4:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love y'all so much. And thank you again for the donations. You can continue to donate even after the live. If not, leave a review. Let Insight Timer know that this was a helpful space for you, because it helps me too. Bye, guys.